Hello guys and welcome back to Let's Go, and what you see behind me here is Conisbrough Castle in Yorkshire. That's where I am from, and this was built in the 12th century to keep out the Normans. And what we have here is the Zukboard City, and today we are going to be test riding it, range testing it, and going through the specifications. Up to 18.8, 18. Yeah, look at that power being sapped. The 9-bot does struggle up this one as well, but yeah, that's a little bit close. So it has a 300 watt motor on the rear with one disc brake. It does have electronic braking as well. It is a Canadian maple board, and it's got the QSS4 display. It has a top speed of 25 kilometers an hour, which can be de-restricted to around 30. The wheels are 8 inches. You do have a pneumatic front tyre and a solid rear tyre. This scooter does come with a front and rear suspension. The Zukboard does have a range of around 22 miles with a 10.5 amp hour battery, and it is lithium ion. The fenders are actually really good. They cover up the pretty much the whole back wheel. When you actually look under there, you can actually see that the brake cable is actually open to the elements. The brake cable runs through the deck, and the batteries are actually in the stem here. So all the weight is essentially in the stem. I myself would prefer a pneumatic tyre. I've been out on a ride for this today. I'm around 6 miles into this range test, and I find that it's a little bit, I don't know, it's not absorbing the minor bumps quite as good. I find that these as well, because it is a modular system, you can actually change out the front wheel for a drum brake as well. So you would actually change the whole section there, and you can even change the deck if you end up breaking the deck. But these little bits here are actually it makes your foot uneven on the platform, and you get all the vibrations through those specific points. I tend to like to sit with my feet side by side like that, but I find with this one I'm having to have a foot there and a foot there just to maintain stability. So this is a city scooter, so the riding that I have been doing does not give it justice. I would say that you would kind of need to have it mainly on softer ground, and the suspension is really sort of set up for you know, jumping off of curbs, and it does a good job actually because it's so light on the bottom. You're basically picking up the front there, and it makes it a lot easier for you to jump the scooter actually. Overall, I think that the quality of materials on this scooter are actually quite nice. They are very well made. One of the comments I got on the last video was, what if like, the deck is probably going to get wet and, you know, rot and crack and stuff like that. It is a Canadian maple, so it is going to last quite a long time, and because it is modular, you can swap it out whenever you need to. I know that we don't want to swap it out constantly, but if you have a metal deck on, you know, your regular 9-bot for instance, you're going to have to get essentially a whole new scooter if you ruin your deck, or if you smash up the chassis for instance. So you have to bear that in mind. Swapping out a board is actually much cheaper than buying a whole new scooter, if you think about it that way. For the price, it is around sort of, you know, I've seen it for around £650 in the UK on one of the websites. You can actually get it a little bit cheaper using the link down below. When we're talking about the deck as well and the resistance that it has a coating over it that is going to be wear resistant. They're not just going to give you bare wood. I would actually like the deck to be longer. I like to have a wide stance if I'm doing things, but this is a city scooter, as we've mentioned before. It's good for jumping around, and it's meant to be in a small space, so for small spaces it's really good. Will it fit my car? Let's find out. So as you can see there, it doesn't really fit in the car as well as I'd like it to. I tried taking off the handlebars to make it fit the boom on its own. No luck there. But it's not too bad. I only have to put one of the seats down for it to just slide in, and it's not taking up too much of the passenger cabin area. So that's not a bad deal if you think about it. In my 9-bot I have to put the whole double side seat down, and it takes up the whole sort of back of the car. So yeah, this one's a good one to take on holiday with me if I wanted just to get around. Who would I recommend this to? I would probably recommend it to anybody that's limited on space, wants something light, so it's only around 14-15 kilos. You can jump it around, good for the city streets, not for long journeys. Let's find out how the rest of the range test fares on. This is painful. Okay guys, so we're coming to the end of the range test now, and when it got to about 50% it started sagging and it's lost some speed, and now it's just like adding some power and then taking it off again. Okay, I'm going to call that done. I managed to get 10.1 miles out of it. So what did you think of that range test? Do you think I should take it for another ride and actually try and get a little bit more mileage out of it? The area that I'm in actually is all hilly, as you can see from the video. I do have flat areas that I can take it out of. Let us know down in the comments. Would I buy this scooter? Probably wouldn't. And the reason why I wouldn't is because of the area and the type of riding that I like to do. It's not suited for my needs. However, it is suited to my boy's needs, so I would buy it if it was for my boy. I'll actually leave some footage here so that you can see him riding it, and he absolutely loves it.
JJ, we come to get you! JJ, we come to get you because you are the robber. And we're going to get you in jail.
Right, to the end, and then we're going to turn around, okay?
That's why we can go snapping.
Yes, we have to.
JJ, go in there. JJ, come and get it!
I actually do like the aesthetics of the scooter. It is very well made, quality materials, and it's fun to jump around and it's bouncy. The suspension works for really nice for jumping off the curbs. However, when you're on uneven ground, when there's a lot of gravel and bumpiness, you can feel the suspension working really hard, and you actually feel your eyeballs shaking in your face. So there is that to take into consideration. The branding I like. It's the colours. The wooden board is actually really nice. People think that this is going to wear really easily. I don't think it is, and as I said before, it's going to be super simple to swap out if you need to, instead of buying a whole new scooter. It's really nice. The fenders actually cover the whole wheel and keep all the dirt off the underside and stop it going up your back. The lights, on the other hand, they look nice and they fit the aesthetics of the scooter, but they're just there for looks. The display itself, the actual throttle display, is the standard QSS4 display. It does scratch fairly easy. It's got a couple of scratches on the screen now, and there's nothing you can do about it apart from maybe get a bit of plastic and protect it. It's just a hazard with that particular display. It happened on our X11. Although one brake is sufficient for city riding, I actually would prefer 2 brakes. I've got the max motor generation up to its full settings, and the rear brake I've actually calibrated so it's a bit sharper, and I still feel like it's not enough, especially when you're going down quite a steep hill. Around city, flat ground, it's adequate for the job. I would like 2 brakes. And one thing that I am really missing is a bell. A bell would be absolutely fantastic on the scooter. There's been a few times that I've needed it to warn people, and I just have to shout instead. The handlebars, I don't know, well, the actual handle grips themselves, they are a bit hard. They are not uncomfortable, but they're not the comfiest. Also, I don't know what material they're made out of, but for the first, even now it smells a bit oily and like petrol. I don't know if that'll wear off after a while because it's a new mould. It might be the plastic that they use, and it just might flash off after a while. So when you do get that, just be careful not to let that get on clothes and things like that. Overall, the scooter is fairly comfortable, as I say, for the city. If you're doing the type of riding that I like to do, consider something else. Consider the 9-bot. There has been a comment saying it's a bit expensive. Actually, there's been a few comments saying it's a bit expensive. But if you consider the 9-bot, for instance, you're probably paying about the same in UK prices. This already comes with suspension on it. Yes, it is a little less range than the 9-bot. This is smaller, so it's going to be better for city riding, for city houses where you are limited on space. Fits in the car, okay. I've got a small boot. Most people would have a slightly bigger car. And if you do buy the 9-bot and you want suspension as well, then you look at an extra maybe $200 to $300 extra just to upgrade the suspension there. So you do have to take all these little things into consideration. For me, I want something that's going to be comfortable and have the range to be able to do the miles that I want. This is recreational for me. If there's something in this video that I didn't cover, please leave a comment down below, and I'll be sure to cover that in my next video. Please consider subscribing, like this video, it helps me a lot, it helps get my content out there for people that want to see it, and we'll see you in the next one.